Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video here. We're going to be taking a look at Diablo 4 and Season 4, the Loot Reborn. I finally had a little bit of time to actually play it and get further into the game, getting close to World Tier 4 and the end game. I know I'm kind of more of a casual player just in terms of the time that I have as far as playing goes. But first off, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, really appreciate it. Helps me out. We hit 1,000 subs recently. Now we're going to go for 2,000. So with that out of the way, let me just kind of give you some of my impressions of the game in its current state. And, you know, how I think it's doing versus some of the other ARPGs that have come out recently where, you know, it might be headed. I'd say it's definitely been one of the best, just seasons, patches, releases of the game. I think one of the biggest areas that Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 have kind of dropped the ball on is just the story and the replayability of the actual campaign. I mean, if you play a game like Path of Exile, I enjoy playing through the campaign every time. It's not, the pacing is just really good. You're going through the areas, it's varied. There's so many different bosses. It plays very well. In Diablo 3 and Diablo 4, the campaign is just, the first playthrough of it, when you're really interested in finding out the story, even though the story I feel like was a letdown in both games.
I will have the...
Let's see, lost my train of thought there for a second. So even though the story was just kind of a letdown ultimately, I think it was enjoyable the first playthrough, and then every playthrough after that, I did not want to play the campaign. Like every time I've picked Diablo 4 up, I've skipped the campaign. There's no benefit to playing through the campaign. I think the developers realized that players really don't want to play the campaign again. And when you think about how much time was invested in actually, creating the campaign, and then, the little cutscenes, different voice acting, etc., etc. That's a lot of time and development and money to just basically 2 games in a row be like, ooh, our campaign's so bad that if we force players to play through it again, they're probably just going to quit the game before they even get through the campaign because it sucks. That's definitely something that they need to look at, because that's not good. And hopefully maybe in the next expansion, maybe at least the story in the expansion will be a little bit better. I think one of the biggest things I've noticed too, I didn't realize, but I've got all of the bonuses from every area except Hawazar, so I've been going through and just doing some blue quests real quick, doing some dungeons here to max out my reputation. And even that, it's really annoying, and a lot of the blue quests I've found are just, it makes you click on all these little things. You have to talk to people with unskippable dialogue. I'm just sitting here waiting for this thing to, whatever's happening to happen. Now I gotta talk to them again. I don't care. There's no story here that I care about. I'm just doing it basically to get the reputation, and it just slows down the gameplay. Give me the story while I'm playing, or give me a really nice few minute long cinematic that's interesting to look at, and gives me a break, a brief repose from just massacring demons. and monsters. That's, you know, give me like Diablo 1, Diablo 2 story. I mean, I think pretty much when I was younger, like, I didn't listen to a single quest dialogue in Diablo 2. Like, most of the time, really the only thing I knew that was going on was the story that was given to me in the cinematics, because the cinematics just looked awesome. And, like, to me, that was the most memorable part of the game, was the cinematics. And even when as I got older, sometimes I would go back and just rewatch the cinematics because I thought that they were just so far ahead of their time. And I can't say the same thing in Diablo 4. I mean, a couple of the cinematics were cool, and then the one character that I had, you know, oh gosh, what's it, Inarius, I think? Yeah. The Angel. One of the characters that I thought, you know, was actually pretty cool in the game, just, you know, because of his previous lore. And even he was kind of like a letdown as far as the story goes. Like, he basically just got played by Lilith and then died, like, really pathetically. I mean, seeing him in that first cinematic when they announced the game, I was like, whoa, like, that's pretty cool. Like, he's just going ham, like, these demons can't touch him. And then he, you know, basically just dies pathetically to Lilith. Not even really like a showdown or anything. Just kind of lame. And, you know, we've got this little annoying female girl character who's somehow like integral to the story, and don't really know why. You know, like a 12-year-old girl just is completely out of place in the Diablo universe as, like, you know, a heroine, main character that the story seems to be following. And I'm sure she's gonna be more involved in the next expansion. Like, I won't be surprised if she gets, like, possessed by Mephisto and we get She-Fisto, like we got Diablo in Diablo 3. It's just, I don't know, it just feels really out of place. I'm hoping that's not the case, but I'm, you know, fully expecting and prepared for it. In terms of, you know, so that's kind of my complaints just with Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 in general, is just how much they've dropped the ball with the story and the lore. You know, if your campaign is so bad that you're like not even confident that people want to play through it, I mean, I'd be curious to see the data on how many people have skipped the campaign that are able to. I would say probably it's in the realm of, like, you know, almost 100%, if not 100%. I don't think anyone wants to play through the story. Let me know in the comments down below if you played through the story, if you enjoyed the story. I'm honestly, you know, curious to know. So, next up, let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. The gameplay is definitely improved compared to what it was before, and I think a lot of this is just because they kind of finally figured out, like, people don't want to have 30-second to, like, 5-minute long battles with regular monsters. Most people just want to, like, massacre the monsters, like lots and lots of monsters. That's really the main goal here in, you know, an isometric ARPG, is like fighting through the monsters, feeling powerful, and then running into a challenge every so often, you know, in the form of a boss or just like interesting monster combination that you happen to run into, champions, rares, etc. Like, nobody is
I need time to do that.
wanting to fight like a trash mob for 5 minutes. Even like some of the blue mobs previously, like you could fight them just for an incredibly long time, and you know, it was not an enjoyable experience. Now there's just a lot more monsters, especially in the Hell Tides. I'd say it was where the gameplay really shines. It's unfortunate because there's a lot of things, like there's a lot of varied content in Diablo 4. You know, like I think they had some good ideas, you know, like with all these little different dungeons, the open world, the random events, but basically with how they've buffed Hell Tides, you know, and I'm not saying I want them to change Hell Tides. I think Hell Tides are in a great spot. The Hell Tides are just definitely, though, the most efficient way to level. If I wasn't trying to get the reputation, I would not be down doing this stuff right now. So, you know, I think they need to do like another pass on those other side areas and content. I am not too, like, I have some of the nightmare dungeons and stuff that I can do. I just haven't yet done them. But my understanding is that really, like, the nightmare dungeons are kind of like, you just basically are forced to do them to level up your glyphs, which I don't really understand, like, that choice. It just seems kind of odd, you know? It's like if they wanted it to be like a gym from a skill gym from PoE 2 where you socket it and level it up, they probably should have just gone with like it leveling up while you get experience, and then give some other kind of benefit or reason to do nightmare dungeons. But it's like they've got all this sort of like varied content, but it's still not as good of an end game, I would say, as maps and PoE. I have not yet got to the sort of new, I forget what they call it, like the pit, but it's basically like rifts from D3. So I haven't got to that yet, but I mean, I've played D3 and done the rifts. So, but you know, even here, like, and I'll show you my gear in a second, but like a lot of my gear, you can see I just melt stuff. But like a lot of this gear I have is from World Tier 2. And I'm just basically using it for the legendary powers. Most of my other stuff is World Tier 3, but like, you know, nothing here. I'm not even really worried about gear right now. It just doesn't seem to be an issue. Basically, on the Barbarian, if you have one weapon that has, you know, relatively solid DPS for your current level, you don't really need to worry about anything else. You know, and then just get your legendary powers. The changes to how resistances work is a really solid change. Like you can feel it when you don't have the resists you need. They actually are a stat you need to pay attention to now. Mainly for me, in the Hell Tides, the first resistance you need to really worry about is fire. The other resistances, not so much. I'm sure, like, when you're doing the other content, you'll want to pay attention to it. But right now, if you've got decent fire resist for Hell Tides, you know, as you're leveling, that's really probably the main thing you need to worry about. Because you can fight this boss in the Hell Tides with, you just get, you get these hearts where you can summon this boss, and pretty much all her damage is fire, and I'm pretty sure like that's the majority of the damage that you're taking in the Hell Tides as well. is fire damage, so as long as you've got decent fire resist, you're gonna be okay. As far as the leveling experience, it's so much faster now, which is great. That was one thing. Like, I'm already, I haven't really put a lot of time into this character, but I'm already, getting close to World Tier 4, and my first character I made before the first season started was, not quite to max level. And every other character I've made never quite got to max level. Like, I'm getting close to, I'd say probably, within a few hours I could probably pass up my other characters in terms of progression. I haven't done a whole lot of the tempering, and I haven't done any of the masterworking, but it definitely seems like those are, very good changes to the game. I'm still, not really sure what game is going to be the best game when you've got, like, PoE 2 coming out. I still think PoE 2 is going to probably be a better... What is this lady talking about? Where are these freaking livers? My gosh. Poison. I'm not even sure, like, what's dropping the livers. I'm just killing everything I can find. Okay, over where? See, that's the other annoying thing, is like these NPCs like tell you stuff and then don't do anything. It's like, don't tell me to go over here if you're not actually gonna show me anything. Oh, and then, you've got the Tree of Whispers too, which is like kind of an interesting thing, but basically, you're really only mostly gonna do, like, if you look at a Helltide area, like, you can basically get all of your Grim, rewards or whatever from the Helltide. So basically the whole game now, you're just doing a Helltide, and then Helltide seems to be up 100% of the time. So you do the Helltides, you get your Grim Favors, you go turn those in, you just kind of level up through, progress, and until you get to where you're wanting to, progress into leveling up your glyphs. So then you're gonna do Nightmare Dungeons, and then I'm assuming you're basically gonna do the hits and potentially farm like some of the in-game bosses. But like, there's not really a... Oh, please tell me she's got the liver. Ugh, finally. Like, there's not really any pinnacle bosses that I think, like, are really gonna push your character like there are in Path of Exile. Like, the content just... In PoE, it really seems like as you progress through the end game, like, more and more stuff opens up. And, it's like you're playing through the campaign, you get to the end game, and then it starts to just, like, it slowly, like, the door cracks open a little bit, and as you progress, like, more and more things open up that you can do. In this, it just really feels like, there's only one right answer, one thing to do at a time. In PoE, you can kind of, like, pick and choose, like, do you want to do Delve? Do you want to, do heists? Do you want to do maps? Like, are you gonna, I mean, you're probably gonna do some of all of them, but, like, in terms of how you, kind of build your Atlas passives, you get, you know, more, you get to focus on like the content that you want, like that's suited more towards your build. And then you progress and you start taking on like all of these like really pinnacle end game bosses, and even like some of the map bosses are really challenging. And it really tests your build, and you know, even when you think you're powerful, you kind of get put in your place a little bit, and it's like, oh man, I've got to find a way to like make my character stronger to do this content that I want to do. So that's, you know, kind of my thoughts on Diablo 4 and where it's at right now in Season 4. I mean, if they can continue to make positive changes like this, I think it's gonna really, really be good for the game overall. It's just some of the core game is like not good. Like the story, I don't care. Like, hurry up. You know, it's like, I don't care. I just want to do this. Like, you can't skip this cutscene. It's just kind of annoying. And like, there were some cool characters in the game that were added. Like, I forget that one boss, but the one boss that's like the fire dude that's like riding that big beast. Like, I thought he was a pretty cool boss. So I mean, there was like, you know, some things that were all right in the story mode. It's just they needed more stuff like that, and they didn't really have it. And then like, I don't understand why some of those like story bosses, we don't really see them as like in a map. And there's just not enough bosses. Like, here we go again. Like, I don't care. Like, come on, let me get through this. Like, look how much this is just wasting so much time. Like, I don't need this story. Like, I don't care if the character lives or dies. I just want the reputation. Let me get the reputation. Okay, finally, convulses and dies. Okay, that's fantastic. Now, give me the reputation. Okay. I still can't click on the character. Oh my gosh. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Okay, finally. And now I can skip through that. Oh my gosh, I've got to go run over here to talk to her again. Like, this is just not good design. I'm sorry, but like, this is not good design.
You won't see her again. But she left you a letter. There, on the table.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me read the letter. Okay, I don't care. Alright. Got another quest. So, yeah, I mean, you can just kind of see how much unnecessary time that adds into the game. Oh my gosh, and I still have like a whole lot more junk that I need to do that, like, it just takes, this just takes too long. Like, you know, they added in all this stuff like the altars of Lilith, this reputation thing, and then they basically scrapped it all because they said, oh, the players don't want to do this. And, you know, you can if you want to get some bonus XP and gold, but it's clearly not, you know, necessary. You don't need to do it at all. It's just, you know, is what it is, I guess. But they basically scrapped the whole campaign. They scrapped, what else did they scrap? So they scrapped the campaign. They scrapped all the reputation. You know, you do it once, you don't do it again. They scrapped the altars of Lilith. You do it once, you don't do it again because it's so annoying. Like, if those are your systems, like, just don't even put them in the game in the first place, and save that development time for something else that is more productive. You know, I mean, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But here we are over in a Helltide right now, just going to do this quest real quick, and you know, it's definitely got the highest amount of monster density, and so that feels good. The monsters just keep spawning, and you know, you can just keep killing them. The more of them you kill, you fill up like this little bar here. Sometimes that big like demon head pops up and just like barfs out a bunch of monsters, which is great. But yeah, I mean, basically, I did another video on this kind of recently, but the game has more or less devolved into like a vampire survivors-esque type game. Whoops. So you're basically just killing all the monsters as they run at you, sort of mindlessly. There's no story, there's no like really overarching thing that you're like goal that you're trying to do, other than you're just killing monsters to kill more monsters to get more powerful, to kill more monsters. There's no in-game goal, strategy really. Like, it's I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe I've played too much PoE and it's got me like kind of spoiled, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that Diablo 4 is improving. Like, definitely am happy that it is. I just really think they need to go back and revisit, now that they've kind of fixed some of the core design issues with like itemization, and even some of the builds feel better. Like playing Barbarian before, I did not enjoy it at all, and I'm actually really enjoying playing Barbarian now. I really like that skill right there. Leap feels better. Whirlwind feels better. I don't know what they've really changed or tweaked, but it just, yeah, everything feels a little bit better than it used to, if that makes sense. And maybe because there's more monsters to kill, it makes it feel better. That's the part I'm not really sure about, is if it's just like the increased monster density, or if it's like the actual builds themselves. So I guess I'll kind of leave it at that. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and you know what ARPGs you're most looking forward to. I guess we are about to get one of these like spawns here, where when you kill enough guys, you start to spawn. Yeah, so I think we just hit that spawn. So I'll show you. Whoa, that was kind of glitchy there. So yeah, you start to kind of spawn in all these guys. I guess I should drink one of these consumables, just so we get the extra experience. That's the other nice thing, is it seems like you always have enough consumables to be getting your XP boosts, so helps you level even a little bit quicker. The other thing I noticed is I have already unlocked all of the available glyphs, so you know why those are drops, I don't really know. Like, I guess other than just to like slow progression down. Like, there's a lot of things that they just kind of like added into the game that just more or less seemed like they were put there to artificially slow down your progression. That you know, I don't really think they needed to be there. Such as like the glyphs, having to unlock all of them, find them. You know, it's not like PoE where you can just trade for them or purchase them. So it's like if you need a build defining glyph and you don't get it to drop, like, that's kind of a problem. You know, that's gonna really slow down your progression. So luckily it seems like they've changed that, so now you definitely don't really have that issue. Like I said, I've got all of the glyphs already, and now I'm, you know, just I can level up whatever I want without having to worry about waiting for them to drop, so that's fantastic. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and remember to give them the D.